Hey Questers, thanks for listening to the second half of our Endeavours episodes. Last week we saw what Maris and Farrell were up to, and now it's time to catch up with everybody else. The central bastion on the back of Torlaan's island shell rises high into the sky with its gold-plated exterior, now adorned with red and green pennants spiraling along the formidable battlements. The various turrets that branch off high into the air have been outfitted with oil lanterns that flicker gently in the first throes of daylight. The lanterns have been specifically cut to cast a light in the shapes of hammers, lightning bolts, and small trees. And now, as the light of Heish rises in sequence, the sunlight glints off the central bastion, breaks through the trees, and shines onto the face of the Sylvaneth warrior Frostglade, with his heavy oaken brow.
Just like a little growl there.
Yeah, but yeah, what is this is the forest glade on the front of Torlaan's shell. You know, it's roughly the size of a small city park, but very dense with trees. The biodiversity in here is very high. There's little animals scurrying back and forth. And Frostglade, what's kind of the relationship that you have with this forest?
Oh wow! I've been so busy since joining the Soulbound on Torlaan that he's probably enjoying just a really rare moment of peace that he hasn't had really since joining the group. The relationship would be that he would love to come here and treat it a little bit like a retreat, but even though he'd sort of naturally, you'd think he'd probably be a bit of a caretaker. And he's not against that. He's been really busy and also has a little bit of reluctance of just sort of claiming a spot as his own. So at the moment he's in there and maybe rumbling softly to the various critters in his cloak and body, and just spending a quiet moment away from combat. And then moment past, he stands up and claps his hands together, and he's ready to go save Cass from the horrors of the ocean.
So Cass, I was going to ask, because this is something that I've been asking a lot of folks, especially the organic folks, the meat folks, I guess is more accurate.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Where does Cass stay on Torlaan? You know, some people are in the central bastion. They have quarters kind of done up. There are a few different outbuildings and stuff here, but where would you think Cass would make home?
Yeah, I think she'd be in kind of like whatever sort of quarters she was given. I assume that would be kind of like more of like a bunkhouse or like just a general like where most people stay, because I can't imagine there's a lot of room on Torlaan.
There is a room kind of, especially for the binding. You know, you're all significant heroes of your own repute. And you'd have like a large stone room that you could have for yourself up in the tower itself. But okay, that makes sense. But you are, I believe, on your way to meet Frostglade. Is that right?
That's right. I might have sent him a letter, or perhaps met him in the halls, and asked politely if he'd be willing to meet today.
I'm sorry, no mailbox. Scared of hallways. Frostglade sprints straight south off of Torlaan. This is going to be a rough one.
Actually, in my mind, I actually thought I would have sent you an owl as an Harry Potter-esque kind of wizard might, but more so because you actually have a family, I hear, living with you.
Well, to be honest, and don't spread it around, but the original family has long since been crushed in some kind of battle. But as Frostglade sees this owl approach, he's like, "Oh, perfect!
No, not another one.
Another one to join me."
Oh my god!
Welcome.
For what it's worth, Cass does not know what she's sending this owl
that's
to.
Wonderful.
You never see it again, but I'm sure it's fine. No, Frostglade is a creature of purpose, especially after joining the Soulbound. So literally, if he knows that Cass would like to speak with him, he will stand up from his time in the glade and use my soul bond sense Don't worry, Dave. I'm rolling all the dice for that. To zero in on Cass. 12 successes, Dave. I'm really good at that.
Well, you're there. You appear from the shadows behind Cass.
I surprised all of us.
Cass, you're making your way down from the upper chambers where your quarters are down to the main mess hall. You're passing through. You see. You remember this is where the cake celebration was when you went to go find the Bosom of Mercy originally.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that there is a few preparations here. There's some banquet tables being hauled out. You notice that there are streamers kind of laid out back and forth across the interior. And you notice there's kind of the platters being kind of put down are, pretty modest. Lots of root vegetables, nothing really too fancy.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Dave, I just want to mention that Frostglade never got his cake. So he's also pretty horrified to see the root vegetables as he walks in. This is something we need to deal with right now. Clearly.
Now, what were we talking about? Yeah, you're in the central dining hall, kind of circular. Tequila has his large map over to one side. These long dining tables have been pulled in. Yeah. What does Cass do?
To maybe make things easier, Cass, I think Frostglade would almost certainly have gotten distracted as soon as there was a map involved, and he'd likely be just standing over there rumbling and looking at the map, trying to decide what to do next.
Does Cass see Frostglade as she enters?
Oh, definitely. He's a big
I'm rolling
tree.
stealth. 12 successes anyway.
So Cass, I don't think has had a lot of time to chat to Frostglade. She's definitely met him, and she's strangely enough bound to him through the soul binding. I don't think they've really shared a conversation. He's been out on his duties, and two ships passing in the night. They've not really formally met each other. So Cass
they've definitely met each other though.
Well, had a good full conversation.
Oh, really know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cass.
So what's your favorite quiche?
Well, the finest quiche I ever had was had these small kind of roundish onion types called chives. I heard they were said, but
who the hell are you talking to?
Sometimes I like to just talk to myself about the finest quiche I ever had. No, so Cass would saunter over, and she I assume that she's behind you at this point and kind of trying to figure out how to get your attention.
Which branch do you pull on, or
right? Yeah, she's just trying. She's looking around. You're kind of too big to get around. At this point, she just decides, the politest thing to do is knock. So she knocks. Excuse me, Frostglade. She tips her hat.
Frostglade turns around with great care and a slow speed, and zeroes in on his soulbound compatriot and says, "Cass, hello. It is good to see you."
It's fine to see you too, Frostglade. I know we haven't had a lot of time to chit chat and to small talk. It's been a mile a minute here on Torlaan.
Frostglade narrows his eyes at the expression, or maybe at the thought of just having idle chit-chat. You're not sure which. He's a tree person. He's weird. But he just rumbles and allows you to continue.
So, I was hoping we might remedy that situation today, and I assume you received my owl?
Yes, yeah, it's fine. Totally fine.
Are you talking about the contents of the message that I sent with the owl, or are you talking about the owl? Because it sounded like you're talking about the owl, and I'm not feeling quite right.
Yes, the owl and the contents. Yes. What do you want?
Frostglade, did you read the letter?
He looks as embarrassed as he can look, and is silent for a beat, expression unchanging, and then apparently comes to a decision. No.
Frostglade, can you read?
It's going to be this type of episode. Yes, I didn't see it. how dare you? I didn't see the letter. I'm sorry. And he starts patting at his mossy cloak and body, purposelessly, I might add.
Okay. Cass sits there kind of like scratching her head a bit, just trying to like hone in on what exactly, she's trying to read between the lines, but it might be like going over her head. So she's like, well, all right, well, I appreciate you taking the time to see me today, regardless of knowing the topic of our meeting. In short, I've lived here on Akshi for a while, and I've got a town of folk that rely on me, and we're a bit out in the wilderness there, and we rely a little bit on plant growth and crops for our sustenance. And one thing we've noticed is that it is hard as hell to grow things out here on Akshi. And, perhaps you can forgive me for assuming, but I thought given she kind of like waves to all of you, physicality, you might know a thing or two about perhaps growing up crops and in the hottest and the roughest of regions.
So as you speak, Frostglade's face, it's generally really quite impassive, not a super expressive face, but, his eyes do glow a brilliant green, and the colors do change a little bit, depending on his mood. As you speak and sort of explain, what you're looking for from him, you actually notice that the bright green, it actually starts to dim and changes to kind of this like deeper blue, like the brightness of it is muted. And another beat passes, and Frostglade says, "I see. I don't know if I can help." And then he seems to think for a second, turns his head to the side, and then finally says, "But I will try."
Well, I appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate you giving me a hand. I'm not sure if I've upset you or not. Your eyes are all going wonky colors. Is that a normal thing? You gotta forgive me here. I'm not sure. I gotta admit to you, I ain't never talked to a tree folk before. Sorry, Sylvanas. I feel like I'm being rude.
Oh my goodness, the inadvertent racism is so obvious. But Frostglade, is pretty famous for that in this group already, so that's fine. Besides that, all of the uncertainty that Cass is feeling, you would guess that you're seeing that on Frostglade's face and with his body language. He despite being 12 feet tall and ready and willing to face down whatever monsters that the forces of chaos can throw at us, he's having trouble meeting your eyes as you sort of explain it. Finally, he raises one hand very slowly and sort of pats the air between you and says that, "No, it's fine. Let's go. Let's see what we can do."
For what it's worth, as far as Frostglade can see, Cass is being genuine. She's not like trying to hurt his feelings. She just looks like kind of confused. She's never like approached this kind of situation before, and she doesn't know what's right and what's wrong. So she's trying her best to be polite, but she might be having a misstep here and there.
Oh, that's A-okay. I think that's coming across. So just so I don't destroy my voice, as Frostglade sort of motions to one of the exits, I'm hoping Isaac, the player, is hoping that Cass is going to lead us somewhere.
Yep. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So as we start to move, Frostglade's quiet for the first little bit, and then as we get away from maybe groups, he explains a few things as you guys walk. Oh, where are we going? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure about all that Torlaan has to offer, like me as a player, but Cass wants to go to probably one of the like if there's an orchard or if there's like a space of greenery, a place that one might find plant life on Torlaan as a base, starting base.
So, you can
There's
kind
no
of imagine...
such thing on Torlaan. Bummer. There's just no place to go. This is a dead end, Dave.
Well, this has been a great session, everybody.
High five and out.
Cass would know that there's a very small kind of glade-like park that I'm sure we remember Frostglade was in before. At the front, kind of, if you're imagining like the front 12 to 2 o'clock of Torlaan's shell is actually encompassing this.
Okay.
Kind of, if you were to keep going around like the faces on a clock, the top right you would have this glade and forest, and below that you'd actually have kind of this like rough area that has been worn and kicked up with dirt over time. This has actually been where some livestock, horses, griff chargers have been kind of maintained, and so they kind of keep this as an open, like almost like stockyard kind of area. And then other than that, there are very small patches of soil, and therefore some moderate amounts of plant growth kind of like between it. The majority of Torlaan's shell was originally like a turtle shell that has slowly been encrusted with soil, rock, and debris over time, and hardened kind of in sequenced layers until the castle was forged from stone and metals on top of that. So that's kind of what you would know.
Okay, so just like in a physical sense, would the grassland or like the earth upon Torlaan like go very deeply down, or is it kind of like maybe just a top layer?
Not very deep. I mean, like, if we're considering like Torlaan's the size of like a city block, right? Mm-hmm. In order for there to be enough distance between the shell and the foundations and everything like that. I mean, those are partially fused, you'd assume, but like plants, like small plants, like crops, only need like a few feet of dirt to grow. And you would assume that the majority of places, like if you were to go underneath like paving stones, you'd have a few feet of soil.
Okay. So it's not like impossible.
Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Like that.
I'm talking about the geology of a turtle island. So
I was actually genuinely, I was so worried that like this episode would just be like, all right, so what are the biological like aspects of plants? Like what is the growing state on Torlaan? Like really deep, like entertaining things for sure.
Let's talk about loam. If we don't get there at some point, I'll be pretty disappointed. So that's all red, especially for going to a place that Frostglade knows well. As you guys walk, he'll break the silence and ask Cass, who do you know about the spirit song?
Please forgive me, but I don't. Is this something I should know?
No. It is the greatest gift of our goddess, Alariel. It connects.
We see Frostglade start to reach in and pull out some brochures from his loam.
I just printed these, just so handy to have them.
Cass begins flipping through the documentation.
Perfect, yes. He also explains, briefly, if possible, that the spirit song, it empowers us and connects us all. We can hear it and feel it across the plains, wherever we are. It is her greatest gift. He takes a deep breath, and his footfalls actually slow, and he stops for a moment. And before the change in the color of his eyes, and the glowing of his runes was slow as you were speaking earlier. Apparently, as Frostglade was going through these thought processes, as he's explaining all of this, it's much quicker. He's not showing it outside of that, and he doesn't have a lot of intonation, but you can tell that this is dredging up a lot of emotions, and it's probably obvious why when he says, "When I became soulbound, I was cut off from the spirit song. That is why I don't know if I can help you, but I will try." And then he sort of nods to no one in particular and keeps walking towards the glade.
When you say that we can all hear it, do you mean just the Sylvaneth, or Am I just not listening hard enough?
Yes, sorry. The Sylvaneth. All of us.
So I'll describe the glade a little bit. This, unlike the forests, forest is a little bit of a misnomer, but, the kind of environment that you're finding yourself in with the Slagmar Islands in general, you could imagine are very, lush tropical, style forests and greeneries and everything. Torlaan itself, though, is, you could imagine, like, very, like, thick, your pines. And
Coniferous?
your coniferous
Is it
trees.
coniferous or deciduous? There's only those two types.
Loam?
Yeah, the loam hanging in branches. But as you come into the glade, while Torlaan itself is often, beset by, sea winds of salt, bobbing of the turtle ship, which is, albeit fairly steady for what it is. But as you cross into the threshold of this glade, you hear like the seabirds, the spray of the ocean waves, all that kind of deadens around you. And as you come into the center, it's just quiet. You hear the chirping of newly arrived owls. You have some undergrowth critters.
To the slaughter.
there are some small woodland critters rumbling about, running back and forth.
It's me. It's always me.
Yeah. And you can reach the middle where there is an open glade of lush, cool green grass that rustles very, very lightly as your legs pass through. There are wildflowers coming up along one of the sides. There is a boulder in the middle of this, and it kind of juts out from this grass surrounding it, and is covered in a very light coat of lichen.
Frostglade says, hello, tiny one, to no one in particular. And then as he bends down and stoops to pick up, a teeny tiny little pine cone from one of these fantasy conifers, and holds it in his hand, and turns to Cass and says that there are some Sylvaneth who could take this seed and grow an entire forest, but I'm not sure what I can do. And then he'll bend down and find a spot. Dave, preferably not in a spot where there's beautiful flowers growing. Let's find a spot that's mostly barren. And he'll dig a little hole, and with his hands, and then with almost reverence, place this little acorn / pine cone in, cover it up, and then I want to roll a devotion soul, Dave, to clearly make an entire forest spring from the earth. How's that sound?
This has far-reaching impacts that we'll never be able to turn back once we run to existence.
Meanwhile, I'm just picturing, fast forward into the future where, these colonists are looking up and they just see this giant bastion of trees just like barreling towards them, coming from across the sea, and they begin running. They realize it's found them again.
Oh no!
It breaks the shoreline and trees begin to form everywhere.
Close your eyes, children! Close your eyes!
It's the same as 5 years ago, no.
So I wanted to know, do you have any... what's the name of the talent? 1 second.
The answer is pretty much for sure no, Dave. That's a no. Also no. But right now he is
sure.
He's cut off. If I can make this thing sprout a little tiny rootlet, great. And if not, also not surprising.
Yeah, go for it. Go ahead and try.
Okay. So Dave, I'm picking up all of the dice to roll here. Can you hear them jangling together? Oh shit! I dropped one. Okay, game over. I have 2 dice, thanks to my soul.
Yep.
Oh my God.
It's got to be on 5s. Let me know what you get.
Yeah, so, not to put too fine a point on it, but 2 1s, thanks for asking.
Okay. So, Cass, you watch Frostglade deposit this pine cone into the ground. You see Frostglade watch, and you're almost waiting for something else to happen, and nothing ever comes.
Yeah, Cass just looks at him. What does Frostglade look like right now? Like, how can I read his feelings at all?
Yeah, I mean, he's a complex being, but yeah, you would say that he looks mournful. He's kneeling in front of where he buried it with his hands, which were on the little mound. He's taken them away, and he's just staring at it for an interminable amount of time. The glow from his eyes and his runes is as pale as you've ever seen them, and there's not like tears flowing down his face or anything like that, assuming he can cry. But yeah, he looks distraught, and the silence spreads for too long.
Cass kind of gives it a moment, and she walks up to him and places her hand on his shoulder, and she looks him in the eye and she says, "Yeah, I know how you feel. I came out here. I left my family goodbye, and I ain't seen them for a while, and it's lonely. I can understand that. I don't know much about this song you speak of, but I think that we all can understand loneliness." And she kind of reaches into her pocket, takes out a small vial of aquagranus, and she says, "This is just a thought I've been having, and perhaps an experiment. But why don't we try again?" And she pours 5 drops of guaranus onto the mound that Frostglade had been trying to nurture.
Oh my, Dave, buckle up! I don't know what you're gonna do here, but.
No, I know exactly what happens there. This is part of the lore of everything. As the aquagranus drops onto the ground and flows into it, you actually don't sense the plant bolster itself and spring up or anything like that. But if you were to look at it, you would say that the ground around it is just a little bit more ready for life than it was before.
Try again, Frostglade. And I don't know how I can help, but you just tell me what I do, and I'll try to do it.
Frostglade has been stock still this entire time and watching closely. His expression hasn't changed, though the colors have muted a little bit in their glow. He says, "Place your hands on the loam." And then Frostglade, we did it, guys. We're good. Frostglade also bends down and puts his hands on the earth.
Do I just sing to it, or perhaps a humming, a tune, or?
Frostglade kind of smiles a tiny little bit, as much as he's capable of smiling, and says, "Yes, you could do that." And as you start whatever tune you're going to be singing or humming, Frostglade would sort of join in, rumbling, maybe tunelessly. But I'll gladly roll a couple of dice again, Dave.
We should have coordinated better, Isaac. We should have had a beautiful duet ready for this moment.
Me. Next session. Dave?
Go ahead,
Dave.
roll some Devotion Soul, both of you.
All right, Devotion Soul it is.
It'll be on 5s.
We got this.
Tell me the total that you both come across.
I got 1.
Okay.
No devotion here, so just a soul. I got 1 as well.
We see almost the camera kind of pull back as we see Cass and Frostglade together in this glade. Little woodland critters watching from treetops and stalks. As we hear this quiet duet of rancher and tree folk break this low silence, we hear these hums and these tunes come across as the branches and grass sway back and forth. And we don't see any results from this, but we do see Cass and Frostglade, working together at this for some time. And when it is all said and done, while life may have not come back, their bond has become stronger, and the binding recovers 1 soul fire.
Very good.
Frostglade moves his hands, both of them, and very carefully takes one of Cass's and grips it and just says, "Thank you."
It's my pleasure. Perhaps we ain't as alone as it might seem.
Maybe not.
Dear Evan, it is my wish that this letter finds you and Marley in high spirits and good health. It's been a while since I've had time to sit down and write you. I have been missing you two something fierce since I left town. I hope Marley's been behaving herself, and that you've been taking care of your health. I'm sorry to saddle you with her and the extra work around the ranch while I'm gone. I keep wondering if I made the right decision leaving to chase this dream of a better life for us all. Been worried sick too, that something will happen while I'm gone and I ain't gonna be there for you. I'm also worried that I'm wasting my time out here just chasing the promise of a better opportunity while missing the best years of my little girl's life. What if Marley hates me for leaving? For not being there while she grows up? Guess I'm just all kinds of worried. I've been thinking about Ma lately, how it was growing up without her. And I don't want Marley to go through that too. Pop, I damn near died a few days ago. I saw the darkness and barely came back from it. All I could think of was how I couldn't do that to the both of you. I just want to leave the world a better place than I found it for my daughter. And I'm scared I'm sacrificing too much or going about it all wrong. You always had the right advice for me, and I sure could use some now. Tell Marley I love her, and I'll be home to visit as soon as I can. All my love, Cassandra.
We're back on Torlaan, and it's that time of year again. The red and green pennants come out. Lanterns are hung with care. It's Year's End. It's the Year's End festival.
Sigmar Fest.
Sigmar Fest 2020. And you have a lot of revelry going on right now. There's a few folks that are, celebrating with what they do have left. You notice you're sitting in Top Shelf, the resident bar on Torlaan. There's a few plates of food around. There's nothing really too extravagant right now. You're seeing lots of root vegetables and not much else. As well, Vernie Bergsbottom, the halfling bartender, who some of you have met in your shore leave episode. He's moving back and forth, but his casks are all running quite low. But for what it's worth, there are large tankards of weird clear liquid that he's passing around to everybody. It's a good time. We have Falas, the Elven Corsair. We have Okri, the Endrin Master. No, I'm getting a no. The Aether Chemist, and
go.
Bort, the Endrin Master.
Got it.
Nice.
So 2 dwarves and an elf walk into a bar. What do we guess?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So Falas will come in and kind of burst open the doors, and if you look him from head to toe, one thing you'll notice is he's got these 2 kind of like leathery sacks tied with a piece of twine around his ankle.
Oh my goodness!
And he kind of looks around, kind of in a frantic bit. Makes eye contact with Bort and Okri, just like, I think I may be over my head on this one, Mr. Okri. Jort, I might need some help crafting, I think.
Bort rubs his hands together and says, perfect, yes, I would love to help you craft whatever you're looking for, if you were to play a drinking game with me.
Oh, well, I'm not usually one for the drink. It depends.
It's the time of year. It's time for celebration. What's wrong with a drink or 2 or 5?
I suppose if the occasion calls for it, Sigmar Fest is one of those exceptions I make.
Perfect. But yes, let's craft.
I assume I'm not sitting at the same seat as Bort, and so I'm going to hop off my seat and just kind of like, are you seriously going to take advantage of him? Just kind of hush. You know how he is.
No, I just want to celebrate the year's end with some of my adventuring pals and some of my new pals.
This is the most I've ever heard you talk.
Yeah. Falas walks over to you guys who are whispering to each other, kind of smacks Jordan in the back. I trust you wholeheartedly.
Perfect. I hope we're both wearing those like metal mustache face mask.
100%. I'm
Like,
wearing
okay.
just the mask and just impassive.
Bort does the equivalent of twirling the end of his metal mustache. Maybe
Oh my god.
he's just polishing an edge of the
For a second
metal
there, I was
mask.
thinking like fidget spinners on the end. Like,
We'll have to think about that
Oh, God.
customization later.
you got spinners on those rims?
Oh.
Bort beckons over to Falas and says, "Come, pull up a chair. Grab a seat. Tell us what you need us to craft."
You know, thinking about it now, I realize that the shoes I have are fairly good. I've only worn them for about 5 years or so. I don't think I need new shoes just yet.
You're talking about shoes so much.
I was thinking just recently, I've got a lot of leather, and maybe we can make a whip out of it. I even picked a name for the whip if we manage to craft one together.
Bort just nods and we can make a whip.
Now tell me about this game of yours. I have to admit, I'm not experienced in the way of drinking.
Bort just wants to reassure you that don't worry, it's fun and it's really easy. We'll have to find a fourth, but that won't be difficult in this tavern. I assume it has other patrons in it.
It's empty
Oh, yeah.
except for 3 people.
Shit. Well,
Guys, it's 9 a.m.
Time to get the bartender involved.
There are a few folks coming and going. I mean, you have the regular crew and support folks that work on Storm's Mandate and Torlaan itself as well. You would know this, Okri, with the recent signing of a declaration with Gromerstown. There's actually a few tradesfolk kind of coming through here. A few I was going to say sea folk. We'll say sea folk that come through. Sea people.
Sea peeps.
That grace the bar. So a little bit of a few rough and tumble folks, but
I like how they're just like random island in the middle of nowhere. They're like, yeah, we're totally going to go to this bar on top of a giant turtle.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. It's top
Why
shelf.
wouldn't they? Yeah.
This is
literally
just
the top shelf.
yeah. This is just literally everyday life for these people in this world. It's just like walking turtle fortress with a bar. Of course, doesn't yours have a bar?
I would go there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would definitely go there. I'm just saying that it's not. Where's the hotel and all that kind of stuff?
it's on the turtle.
It's on the
Come
turtle.
on.
The turtle's got everything.
There's a Days Inn on a smaller dolphin
It's a
that
Days
follows
Inn.
the turtle fortress.
You're looking for the best Western. It's on the tortoise, not the turtle.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll just kind of look around. I'm just like, okay. Hey, you over there. Just a random person.
Random person, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your name, friend?
Let's see. I just rolled on a chart. I want to see
Nice.
who
I
you've
can't
called
wait.
over.
I
You
love
have a name
charts.
chart?
No, I'm literally rolling down the list to see what we got.
Oh,
You got. Okay, cool. So you see a rather ponce-looking human. He's wearing a steel breastplate with some almost like Landsknecht-style arms, fluffy clothing arms that are like striped red and white. He's got a handlebar mustache only on one side. The left side has been scarred off slightly,
Aw.
and he is wearing a pair of spectacles that are quite thick.
So for those of us who's not as versed in the English language as you, Dave, what does ponce mean?
fancy schmancy.
Fancy schmancy is,
A
I guess,
dandy.
appropriate. Very fanciful fellow. He's got a pair of revolvers, one on each hip.
Ooh,
Oh,
Ooh.
a cool dandy.
gunslinger.
How inebriated does he look on a scale of 1 to 10?
He just showed
already. Shit.
Uh,
How may I help you, friends?
yeah.
Hello. What's going
Yes.
on
Come
here?
here. Hey.
Yes,
Alright,
I'm
Bart?
currently standing next to you. You don't need to wave me in
Sorry.
further.
Sorry, I got a little lag in my theater of mind
Yeah,
here.
shit.
Just gotta
Welcome to Top Shelf. Would you join us in our year's end festivities? We're about to start a drinking game, and I promise you it's fun and easy.
Well, that sounds lovely. This little droll little establishment could use a little livening up. My name is Mariah Carrion. It's a pleasure to meet you.
I was gonna write that down, but I don't think I need to. Like,
I can tell you're going to be around all the time. We'll constantly bump into you frequently.
perfect. Well met, Mariah. Is Mariah Carrion like his first name, or is Mariah?
Yes, it's like
He's only got one name yet.
Yeah, does he have one?
It's Marion Carrion, like
You may call me
Carrion.
Mariah. You know, last year's end wasn't so good for me, but I'm looking for new opportunities this year around. I'm ready to open up again.
Perfect. Now's the best time for that, Mariah. Come, pull up a chair. Sit down with us. My name is Bort.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Bort. He pulls up a chair and sits on it backwards.
oh,
It's about to deliver some PSAs.
it's gonna look at Bort and just, I think you're gonna lose money.
I'm gonna. Bort beckons to the bartender and asks,
Hey, what's going on? It's
for-
me, Vernie
for
Birdsbottom.
one. Hi, Vernie. Nice to see you again. Could we
Hello.
get a starting round of drinks for the table on me?
You got it. And he scuttles back, and you see him kind of go underneath the cabinet, and he immediately pulls out 4 large pitchers of clear liquid and brings them back over.
I love clear liquid.
Hey, Bernie, what is this stuff, by the way?
Well, we haven't had many supplies lately ever since we gave everything away to the folks on Glade's Edge.
All right. I mean,
Dihydrogen oxide.
Rubbing alcohol.
So I've been using the containers in my quarters to try making some new things.
Perfect.
Don't
Bernie
drink too
blasters.
quickly. Also, no, I know you folks have, by you folks I mean you artisans, often have flames and torches and things. Just don't go near the alcohol with those. Bye. And he goes back.
Noted. Thanks, Bernie. I take a big mouthful of the drink.
It burns. It burns. And like, you know, I don't know, I don't want to speak for Bort, but I got the impression Bort's quite seasoned in
Yeah.
revelry.
Bort's face doesn't show the burning sensation.
Yeah.
He just grimaces through.
Well, with the big metal
pain.
plate in front of your face, I'm sure
Yeah.
you guys have like great
Eyes
poker
watering.
faces.
I will actually take the helmet off now that I'm actually going to be drinking.
Yeah.
Just to take a sip.
Yeah, Falas like sniffs it and then he like looks around and puts it down without even drinking it. Just kind of, I'm like the worst pirate ever. Don't even drink.
So I want everyone who, and Mariah will drink it as well. Everyone who's drinking it, fortitude body check on 4s. This is going to be an opposed test
Against the booze?
against each other.
3 successes.
One for me.
Okay, and Mariah gets 1 as well. Sorry, what did you get, Okri?
I got 3 successes.
Bort, you're putting on a strong face, but both of you are not handling this as well as Okri. Or technically Falas as well, I suppose.
The winning move is not to play.
Yeah, there you go.
So just bear that in mind in terms of your, status.
Even just sniffing it is like getting a nose full of wasabi. Just like, ooh.
That actually is a good, I think, analogy for it. Imagine if you're drinking wasabi juice.
Oh my gosh, it's wasabi
My
extract.
Yum.
Can you imagine something made out of like wasabi roots?
That's not so bad because like wasabi has that like front end burn, but then it like doesn't last. So
At
you can
least,
get over
yeah.
that like initial.
I guess I'll just look over at Bort and start us off, friend. The game you wanted to play, yes?
We'll get into the game pretty soon. I think we should try to craft this whip that Falas wants with
Oh yes.
with way too much leather. to make a
Don't
whip out of
draft
wood.
and craft, as they say.
Let's get this whip done first.
Okay.
While they do that, I will entertain Mariah since I know we need a 4th mark, so...
Oh dear. So I mean, crafting a whip, like crafting is a long, extended period thing. Is that true, Dave?
Well, so there's not a specific endeavor for crafting. I was looking at this, leading up to this. There's endurance crafting, and there is repairing. There's actually no crafting.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, I'll explain my rationale. First, I was just joking about shoes, but when I was looking through the list of stuff that I can actually make,
Never joke about shoes.
There was nothing that was like shoe based that really worked, and so I was just like,
Where's
well,
the shoe-based
endeavors?
no, there was no shoe based item that I can go for from the thing. I mean, we can make up something.
As wonderful as Soulbound is, it is lacking in shoe related mechanics.
This is my feedback.
This is my feedback here.
Well, we could
it's
probably
not
do
Soulbound, huh?
We could probably do something.
Oh my
like,
god, Murray, get out!
Oh god, we could probably list like a couple different, maybe like qualities that you would want to see out of the whip, and then like break that down into a couple different checks or something.
And like I was saying, I was looking through the item list in the core rulebook, and I saw that there was a whip, and if we could just make the basic whip, I would be happy with that.
So that is 120 drops.
Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't really notice that, but
I was hoping you wouldn't.
So here's kind of what I'm thinking is like you can craft new etheric devices, which are a fair bit more expensive, and that doesn't cost money.
But it costs materials, right?
Yeah, it definitely still costs money's worth of material.
Yeah, my understanding is that I now have a lot of leather to work with.
Do you want like a hat?
Leather hat.
A nice cap.
I happen to like the tricorn that he has. But no, I would be really happy if we can actually make a whip. So some way we can finagle it, I would be extremely happy.
I think we totally can. I just want to clarify that. I just got to figure out what's the cost going to be to do it.
I'll give you all the leather I have. I have like what was it? It was like a 5x4.
It's like a quilt shape of leather from
like a
rotten bat wings. Yeah.
Wait, so is it just hide? Like, it's like already prepared
hide.
Actually
we just
rip
a good point.
the skin off.
It's
and,
actually skin right now.
Yeah.
It's not hide or leather. It's just
I haven't tanned yet. Falas has got 2 basically skin bags tied around his ankles right now.
Also,
wait, why are they tied around your ankles?
Because he's trying to make shoes.
Oh, I pictured it like tied onto the side, but it's literally wrapped around.
Yeah.
He's basically. That's
you just put some loose
disgusting.
skin around your feet.
I mean, we can say he tanned it before he came, and he's got it prepared and ready.
I just thought you'd carry it in like a normal person.
I tried to do it, and it didn't work very well.
We're gonna ignore the feet hide, and maybe just work with the.
Oh, it's gonna be so
scraps
rank.
you have.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awful.
Yeah. So we're gonna do some extended tests. It's gonna be crafting mine for Bort, but let's get started. So I think right now on the table, I want crafting mind check from Bort leading it, with Okri if he wants to help. 10 successes on 4s, and we'll have 3 attempts to do it.
Okay. You get 3 extra dice from me. So.
Whoa!
Perfect. Wow.
You get 0 extra dice from Falas.
So this is from the help, right? So you get 1 for me helping, and then 2 for my training in crafting.
Cool.
Perfect. Sorry, can somebody remind me how does focus work again? If I have 1 focus, I can like.
You can use that anywhere. So since you need 4s, you would use it on a 3 to bump it up to a 4.
Okay, so you bump up 1 dice.
Yeah.
1. Okay.
Yeah, if you have more than 1 focus, you can use it however you like. So you can bump a single dice multiple times, or you can spread it out.
Okay.
Does help also give focus or no?
I don't think so. I think it's just training.
No, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, it's just training. Never mind. So yeah. So you get 3 dice from me, but no focus.
How much focus do you have?
1 or 2, I think. Yeah.
I have 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 1 focus as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and there are 3 attempts. I'll just do.
You'll
one
have 3
first.
attempts over the course of this session. Yeah.
I see.
So
okay.
this is the first attempt.
First
We'll
attempt. All right. Let's just say that this is we're trying to cut the hide into appropriate shaped pieces, unbroken, like as little as possible. Just trying to get some material that we can work with.
This first attempt is trying to rectify Falas' mistakes.
Yeah, we're trying to salvage what we can here.
Yeah.
Like
undo. Yeah. Can you imagine like him just cutting the worst possible rectangles out of like the thing instead
I'm
of cutting
imagining
them
it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this rolled here. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I have 5 successes and I have a 3, so I'll use my focus to bump that one up to a 4.
We're off to a good start.
Yeah,
4, so we're looking at 6. I have 6.
Nice.
Very nice.
Whips aren't hard to make, I'd imagine.
I actually have no idea. Someone who actually knows leatherworking is probably upset at our layman's understanding of it. You're just taking skin and turning it into a whip, right? That's basically what's going on.
Yeah, you just kind of wrap it together.
You just
Yeah.
bang on the
I
metal
just
until
like
it becomes
sew
a
some
sword.
long pieces together until it's extra long.
It's like French braids. It's cool.
We have a montage of Bort, looking at these scraps of leather, maybe taking out a handheld torch, curing it really rapidly, doing all the cutting and everything that needs to happen. And you can tell, in only a few moments of expertise, Caradron tuning, it seems like this is already over half done. But at this point, you're all very thirsty. And I think during this, Mariah kind of leans over and looks like, so what's the story behind all the skin?
Actually,
why was it on his feet?
Falas, what is the story with the skin?
Yes, Falas.
When we left Glades Reach, we left a creature behind that we had to deal with. Frosty had brought myself and Jorts along, and we went and we hunted it. You know me, I like to keep a little piece of each creature we hunt in order to remember our adventures.
It's
like a serial killer. And then he tips back the liquor again.
Yeah,
and there's another 42 save.
Yeah, Alice, I told you that's ghoulish. I don't agree with it.
I'm not sure I understand what that means, Mr. Okri, but as you see, we have the leather here now, and we're going to make something of it.
Bort's going to make a fist and pound the table and say, that monster almost took my life.
No, and I understand that, Johnson. That's very sad. However, you're telling me, and I'm putting my hand on the table, just you're telling me this leather right here that we're working with right now, this is that weird bat thing's hide.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
All right.
I'll take another swig.
All right, at this point, I want everybody to make another fortitude body check. 4-2.
Oh, no.
Well, sorry, it'll be 4S, because it'll be competitive.
Wait, 4S? I mean, I can't succeed. I only have 3.
You're not drinking, are you?
No, well, I'm trying not to, unless somebody...
Yeah, you're not. If you're not drinking, then you don't need to take it. It's 4S, meaning that we're just counting the amount of successes and comparing. It's an opposed check.
I got 1.
I see.
You got 1, okay.
I got 2.
He got 1. So, Okri and Mariah are getting the most tanked. So if we're in a spectrum of tankness, Mariah is falling behind you guys, and he hasn't even drawn any cards or dice or anything yet. Oh boy, what is this stuff made of? This is horrid.
Bort slaps Mariah on the back, says, "Don't worry about it. It's all in the spirit of the season."
A little bit comes up and burns on its way up and goes back down. Yeah.
Jortson, we're not just gonna rob him, right?
No, don't worry. We're just here to make friends.
Sure, just making sure. Okay, yeah.
No, I'm not gonna rob this man. Don't worry. Let's start.
That's very specific.
Start our fun, easy drinking game. Let's just do one round. I'll tell you guys how to play. You'll love it. Don't worry. Bort goes on to explain that the drinking game is very simple. We'll pair off in teams. It'll be Bort and Mariah. And Okri and Falas.
Bring it on!
It's very easy. All we have to do is take turns making a statement, telling a small story, and the other team has to guess if we're lying or telling the truth. If they guess correctly, then the team that tells the story has to take a drink.
All right.
It's easy. Me and Mariah will go first. So, I will tell you guys a quick story or a statement, and you guys have to guess if I'm lying or telling the truth. Here we go. I once rode 3 dragons off into the sunset and discovered a brand new island.
Well, makes sense to me. I believe him. What do you think, Mr. Okri?
Alice, that's horse shit.
How could you ride 3 dragons at once?
Exactly.
Mariah, shut up!
No, I'm with Mariah on this one. How could you ride 3 dragons at once? I call bull.
You're correct. Mariah and I must now take a drink. And at this point, I want to make it look like I'm taking a drink, but I don't want to actually. I will put the vessel up to my lips, but I won't drink anything.
But you're closing the mouth hole.
Yeah. I put the vessel right up to the metal mask.
It's got like a little drain that leads somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like Jort has done this before and just has a side route.
It's like a reverse catheter. I love it.
Oh God. He doesn't notice you don't drink it, and he drinks it, and
you've murdered.
Like, I'm getting to that point where we should probably be concerned. This person's just a human, right?
yes, and a human who takes this third fail a body check or fortitude check, and he's like, all right, now it's your. And then as soon as he tries to get that out and points across the table, he's no longer supporting himself with his other arm, and he just slams face first into the table.
Oh.
Does he remain there?
Oh dear.
And he remains there.
I'm gonna check his pulse.
Yeah, I thought the drinking game would last a few rounds. And it would be like a game.
I was getting a story prepared in my mind, yeah.
Our new friend
failed.
Mariah.
He failed a lot of fortitude checks.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah.
So Bort just wants to get him tucked in, on his side in a nice, comfortable space.
Aw.
He's our new friend, and it's the year's end celebration. All right, well, let's head back and see what we can make out of this weird hide and work in progress whip, I guess.
Hey, do you guys just want to go back to the workshop? There's actual tools there. I can do something else while you do your work.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I guess I'll lead you guys down to like the workshop that I've used in the past, and I'm sure you have as well, Bort. Enjoy, and I'm gonna be in the corner and do my own thing, so don't mind me. Just start working on my own stuff.
So basically the endeavor that Okri is going to be doing is maintenance on his Aether gear. Caradron suits need to be maintained, otherwise they lose power, which is kind of reflected in the fact that they actually have really good stats and really good equipment. So if it goes unmaintained, it drops a power level. So Bort, actually, for the next little while, how you have I think you have 6 slots, is that right?
Yes, I have 6 supply.
So without maintaining it through an endeavor, it is going to decrease to a max of 5. So you'll just need to power down one of the things that you have until you maintain it again.
Okay.
Cool. So let's take care of Okri's little endeavor. Is that even a check, or it just happens?
It's just me doing regular maintenance.
Maintenance.
It's quite simple.
Just do the engineer for Team Fortress. Just smack at it with a wrench.
Yeah,
until
just hitting it with a wrench. I'm just like, sentry down.
I guess through all this, Okri probably takes off his Aether rig for the first time.
Power wash it.
Oh man, talking about things that smells.
Yeah. No, but it's like undoing it, like polishing the. I was about to say the knobs. Nope. Polishing gears, kind of oiling joints and such, and kind of like...
Not that kind of podcast, Nico.
I'm trying my best here. And, refueling fuel cells. Yeah.
Please elaborate.
Just...
what does
cleaning,
Okri?
I don't know.
Oh my god! What does Okri look like underneath his Aether rig? I don't think we've really.
Yes, we need graphic details.
We have mentioned before the heart boxers, but
that's true.
Perfect.
No, it's just Okri. He's 5'4".
That's a big dwarf, isn't it?
4'4".
That's like a Lord of the Rings dwarf.
I'm like 5'5".
No, sorry. 4'4". Missing a foot there. He's got I guess you can't see it as much. He's got copper hair and a beard. Yeah, he's got some burn marks from the neck down. Kind of reaches to his midsection. But other than that, just just regular old dwarf.
Do you guys think the suits will pinch every now and then? Is it close to the skin and maybe move weird, or when you close it around your butt?
There's a flight suit kind of material under it, right?
Yeah, I assume that there was a layer of almost cloth or leather or something.
Evangelion jumpsuits, plug suits.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Just
it's sexy and slimming.
Yeah. Yeah, he takes off his Spanx. No, But yeah, so that's pretty much it. And I'm like, since in the fight against that the Troggoth, my lenses had broken, so I'm currently fixing these up, and that also is a way for me to make sure that I'll be using them more, starting next adventure.
Oh no, not the plot goggles.
Yes. Well, so that's the fun thing about the plot goggles is Dave found out that I actually give up a power cell to use them.
Yeah. So I think we can actually amp up the power of them a little bit. I thought they were just like super free, and that seemed kind of busted.
Oh, so it's one of your 6, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Yeah.
So
that makes a lot of sense. That's my bad.
That's pretty much all Okri's doing. Just doing that while hanging out. And yeah.
Cool. Well, let's finish off this whip, shall we? Go ahead and roll another crafting check. You need to get 4 more successes, same as before. Yeah,
including like the help dice.
Yeah, sure. He's providing moral support. I'm sure he'd look over every now and then. Yeah.
Yeah, and also he provided his workshop.
Yeah, good
all
call.
the tools.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Okay. I got 4 right away without the help dice.
All right.
Wow. What is your training in crafting?
2 training and 1 focus, and
Nice.
the Excel sheet says I roll 5d6, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, because your mind is huge, right? Your big brain.
My mind is
Your
enormous.
mind is huge. We see
5
the
head.
camera swoop around to behind Bort. We see like hammering away, grinding things down, taking an angle grinder to it, and we can't see
Eye
anything that's
laser
going
for
on.
some reason.
Yeah, eye laser things.
CNC machining.
And then we see Bort turn around, hold both of his hands over his head, and we see the whip, and it rotates around freely.
Da, 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 da. There you go.
Murray, why don't you go ahead and describe what you think this thing would look like, and Bort, if you have any accoutrements or anything, just add them in.
I don't know. What do you think, Mario? Would Bort be very ornate or very plain type of worker?
The handle is at least different from the rest of the whip. The handle is braided together, but in my mind, the material was not prepared or anything properly, so it looks like a whip, but it's still kind of like hairy. Like we didn't have time to prepare this hide into leather. Like
It's like
all
a
we did was
giant
like
rat. Oh, it's a rat tail. It's basically a big tail.
That's the name of the whip.
yeah, it's the rat tail.
Ugh. I
I
hate
have
it.
a name for it. I have
No,
a name
it's
for
the
it.
rat tail.
No,
I'm sorry.
Falas,
Okay,
it
wait,
doesn't matter.
wait.
It's I made it. It's the rat tail.
Johnson made it.
Yeah. As I hand over the whip to you, I say, I present to you the rat tail.
And I shall name this rat tail Dover's Legacy.
No, that's worse.
That's way like it's like we didn't have time to rip the veins out of these wings. Like, what did you expect?
Ew. That's nasty.
Oh
I
my
hate
god,
it. I
the
hate it.
rat tail.
It's the rat tail.
Oh.
I love it.
I think it's even funnier that it ends up being Dover's Legacy.
Or does it? Names are how they're used. I'm just having this visualization of what it is.
It's just like I'm picturing the handle is hairy, and I hate it. I
Yeah.
hate it so
It's like
much.
it's like made out of like various like strips of
Yeah.
hide,
Yeah.
but they're all like they're braided together like pretty like tightly and well, and it's it's a
Yeah.
proper whip, but
I'm
it
picturing
but
like
it is kind of hairy.
like the visual for the hair I'm getting is like that weird like underbelly of like a Jack Russell, where it's like it's like coarse,
It's like wiry.
It's
yeah,
like
it's wiry short
Yeah.
hair.
oh,
Ugh.
well, I hope it works well. Well,
It's actually like looking at what a regular whip does. It actually has a lot of good stuff that will work well with the character.
actually, that
Perfect.
is true. They do look really cool. Like whips actually look really useful.
Well, for one, it's a slashing weapon, so it works with my sever
Oh,
talent. And then the second thing is a reach, and with
restraining.
reach weapons, I can use opportunist now on things leaving my zone.
oh,
So
Okay.
before, while we were kind of hand waving whether I can do it with a ranged weapon or not, I can now definitely do it as per the rules with a whip.
you can also restrain them if you. What is it?
Yeah, I mean, if I whip them
when
and I
you
roll
deal
a 6,
damage to something large or smaller, you just deal damage. They get restrained, which means their melee accuracy and defense decreases by 1 step.
yeah, it's actually
That's
the
rough.
stats on it is actually pretty decent.
Ugh.
And now I need to think of like a lot more like Indiana Jones one-liners.
Fucking Castlevania stuff too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Mariel, is there anything else you wanted to do with Bort in this session?
Not with the group.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So you
secret.
actually all hear at the door of the workshop, you hear a couple thump, thump, thump. And you see, after a moment, the door is pushed wide and you see Dakila Brightmane wearing a long red coat burst into the room. Oh, there you all are.
I pull my gun
I
out.
have your year's end bonus. And he reaches into a large brown sack and pulls out 3 spheres of Aqua Garanis
Holy shit!
and hands one to each of you.
Wow.
This has been sent along from Azir itself as payment for bringing in some islands to the fold. We have 2 islands, 2 whole islands that have been ascended to the Storm's mandate. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Dakila.
So how much is a sphere? Is that 100?
Yeah, it's 100 gold essentially.
So every island that we can bring back into the fold, you'll get an extra sphere bounty. Congratulations. And there's a lot more out there. I'm actually just making the rounds now. Every member of the Binding is going to get one of these. So every new island, or every set of islands, I don't know exactly how it's going to
I was about to say,
pan out right now.
Dakila, we got 2 islands, didn't we?
But they'll be paying out quite handsomely. So congratulations. Don't spend it all in one place. Don't drink it in one place either. All right, gotta go. And he turns around and leaves.
Bye.
All right, folks. Well, happy year's end to all of you.
Happy year's end. And to all a good end.
Ahoy, it's your old friend Falas. I've been given some instructions on some things to say, but I can't read them, so... I just want to thank everyone for their kind support so far. If you've been enjoying the stories of our adventures, be sure to recommend us to a friend or two. Spread the word around. There's nothing like sharing among friends. And put in a good word for your old pal Falas too, eh? I'll let you get back now. Be sure to visit again next week on January 20th for a brand new adventure with Frosty, Mr. Okri, and Cassie Lass.
Okay, so the commune with nature.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you had your scene with Cass, and I think a little while later, she leaves the glade, and Frostglade, is kind of there. What do you find that Frostglade would do? Like, during an Endeavor, it's been a week. There's been the year-end festival that I think kind of maybe gone a little bit undetected by Frostglade. Is this a very mortal kind of holiday, celebrating a cycle of seasons, which is kind of why there's all the streamers and festivities kind of going on. But I'm kind of curious, with Frostglade's daily routine. There's no expeditions going out right now. Like, what do you think? What does he keep busy with?
Yeah, good question. I mean, a festival of the seasons you would think would be of interest to him, but currently, for the Sylvaneth, the season is war. They're coming out of an age of just horrifying death and destruction and loss of everything they've held dear. So they're still just at war. So Frostglade is not a busy work type of guy. He would be actively looking to solve problems, identify threats. So that's what he would do. This amount of time being sort of, frankly, for him, stuck with his his various psychoses and without necessarily the ability to just head out and do some things. I think that'd be pretty hard on him. Sure. So for the most part, I think he'd probably retreat into any activity that he could find. So he'd be actively looking for people he can help. Even if it's some physical busy work, that would be worth doing.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I think you're going through this almost. I kind of almost picture it as like a monk kind of going around and tending to, the what is like almost like a monastery grounds. Going across the island, kind of detecting things. I think as you're doing that, can you do a nature mind check for me and just let me know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I sure can. That is not great. I'm not sure what the DC is, but
It was on 4s, yeah.
Yeah, we've only got one success there.
So I think as you're passing along the grounds, I think you just feel a cold kind of tinge kind of come up from your roots as you walk along the ground. And I think like you pause. I think the immediate thing you would probably detect is was it tied to a certain spot? But you paw at the ground with your little rootlets again. It doesn't seem like it's anything to do with that. It's very strange.
Oh well, this is of immediate importance. So there's no locality to it. Was it like a physical cold or a chill down the spine type of cold?
Yeah, I think it'd be a little bit more metaphysical. Yeah, so I think it's more of a sensation of cold rather than a physical touch.
Okay, well that's very worrisome. If I'm in the glade, I would I would definitely want to get to the bottom of that. Frostglade doesn't have a lot of tools at his disposal, but this does seem like a good time for him to reach into what connection he has with the natural world around him, and maybe he'll learn a thing or two.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Why don't you do a devotion soul?
Sure.
Once more with feeling. Yeah.
Indeed.
It'll be on 5s.
Oh, that's two successes. That's what I can do. That's the max.
Very nice. So I think there's a moment where Frostglade kind of sinks into the forest a little bit, and you get a sense of Torlaan in general, and then even kind of beyond that, like there's a connection that you feel that I don't think you've felt in a long time. It ripples across the waves, and you feel a sharp slash kind of rip through all that distance and come, and it almost like strikes you in the chest as you begin this connection. You reach down and deep and you feel it, and it's not you anymore, but it's a larger being, a sea of beings like yourself, and you feel a red hot strike from above. It cinders and burns, and you feel it burn its way through your stomach. And then as you feel that pain, you recoil slightly and you see it from another perspective. A few more moments pass by, and you hear blast of a cannon, and it rips through the ground once again, and you feel it as if it's boring through your chest like a drill. You get the sense that there's something happening. There's something happening to this natural connection to you, and before you're able to reach too much farther, you're ripped back into the world again. You are fine, but what you felt, there's something out there.
How much time has passed that I've been in this state?
I think it's been a few days. Days.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I think you've settled into the earth a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Frostglade's going to come to from the commune, and he's going to try to absorb the information that he has. Did I get any sense of the direction of it? Maybe I'd go stagger out in search of that map.
Yeah, I think I think during this whole process, you're kind of pushing through, revelers and everyone, and it's kind of like I'm picturing that Breaking Bad meme of Hank kind of like moving around. You have almost this like shock kind of rattling through you as you're trying to leave this ethereal kind of mental state and come back into your own. You push your way into the Great Hall and look towards the map, and I think instinctively, not even your own hand does this, but you feel your branch be pulled up, and you point at the map, and you see to the east and slightly north. I'll mark it on your map. Your branchlet lands.
Okay, is it just out in the sea or a completely unexplored area?
It is unexplored.
Okay. So Frostglade's staggered over to the map, and he's kind of trying to catch his breath, resting both arms on it, and just staring intently at this spot on the map. Is there anybody? This is such a dick thing to say. Of consequence around? Is Tequila nearby or anything like that?
Tequila's been kind of making his rounds and everything. Trenton is nearby.
Okay, Frostglade takes a deep breath and says, Trenton, come here, please.
Oh, yes, of course. How can I help you? What's going on, Frosty?
Frostglade taps on the map a couple of times in that spot, and he says, what is here, if anything?
What's here? Let's see. Uncharted territory. We do know, actually, based on what Gromer's town in the charted mandate, we know that the Dwarden were looking for an aether vein there. The original mining rights actually were going to take them there, but I think Okri and Braca had made a deal and traded it out to some folks from Barrack Nar instead of going there themselves.
Barrack Nar? What are they doing there?
They're probably setting up their new skyport.
We have to go there. I need to see what they're doing. It's not good.
As the last vestiges of sunlight fade, Torlaan becomes lit only with candlelights. It's calm, as all the revelers from year's end have either returned home or passed out in the Tavern of Top Shelf. Inside, we see halfling barkeep Vernie Bergsbottom smack the side of an emptied cask and open up a back room to only reveal depleted containers and spilt grain. With a wary sigh, he walks out to the front of Top Shelf and hangs a sign that reads simply, "Closed, out of supplies." And then from outside, we pan up along the side of the keep, lights extinguishing one by one as the occupants of these chambers drift off, except for one light that remains very vivid. And we zoom inside to see Bort Jortson's chambers, the enigmatic Dwarden Endrunmaster. So, Mariel, how would you describe Bort's room?
Bort's room is probably pretty bare bones. I mean, he's a traveler to this place, and I think that he would have all of his traveling supplies in bags, and I think that's mostly just what we see in a mostly bare room. There's probably like spare parchment strewn about, and a couple lit candles, but probably nothing of note.
Okay, so and then when you kind of talked to me before about what you wanted to do with your endeavor, I thought this was really interesting. So what we can kind of talk about is, what's the one key thing that stands out if you were looking at Bort's chambers right now?
Currently, it would just my new friend and guest Mariah Carrion probably passed out.
And so you had told me before that because. Basically, the endeavor that we're going to be taking on is a bit of a Frankenstein sort of attempt.
Yes.
So,
I would like to think that Bort is more like, in his mind and in his heart, he thinks he's doing something good. He thinks he's making improvements. He's not trying to do anything malicious.
Mm-hmm.
And he thinks that maybe like the pain of surgery is just a byproduct of the greater goal, which is to try and improve upon
interesting.
somebody's.
So he's kind of a function over form kind of.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so flesh crafting and everything. Okay, so of all the endeavors that we listed in here, I didn't find one that would fit too exactly close. But I think what we can probably do is treat this as an extended test.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do some crafting, some mind crafting. Can you kind of just describe like what you exactly want to do?
So I have a couple ideas if this one doesn't work, but I ideally would like to try and graft a God's Eye attachment to our new friend.
Okay, yeah.
Onto their face.
Okay, so you have a God's Eye right now, right? So you'd be
I do.
removing your own and grafting it?
Yeah, because I do. So you did mention last time that I have to power down one of my power supplies. Unless I spent an endeavor to repower up the whole rig, And so that kind of like fits in nicely. I could say that like the God's Eye takes 2 power supplies, so if I'm gonna power one down, I could just say that I'm gonna remove mine for the time being and just try to give it to my new friend.
Okay. Okay, so let's get started. What are you gonna do? How are you gonna prep for surgery?
I was actually gonna ask if from the bar if I could have taken like an extra vial or bottle of Verney's moonshine or whatever.
Oh, sure.
Clear beverage.
Yeah, his bathtub liquor. Absolutely. Yeah, you totally could have grabbed that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think Bort's gonna just try and use.
Probably strong enough. Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna try and first of all check to see how cognizant and awake Mariah is currently.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a fortitude body. He got 2 successes.
Okay.
So I would say that he's kind of in the position where he's handling his incredibly drunken state fairly well.
Okay.
Like he's not at risk of getting horribly sick.
Right.
That said, you can kind of get a sense of it's going to be a sleep off kind of situation. If you were to just start doing surgery, I think it would be he would come to his senses.
Yeah. Would Bort have anything like any kind of sedative with him?
That's a good question. Let's see. I think.
Like, is that commonplace enough that he would maybe just have some?
Do you have any, you have a kit of supplies, right?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Let's see. I have engineer's tools.
Okay.
I think that's the only thing I've written down so far. I do have a talent for combat repairs, but I don't know if that...
No, I don't think
Yeah.
quite. You could spend... So I think Apothecary Satchel would be the kind of thing that would kind of be in line with this.
Yeah.
It's 90 drops. Do you want to buy one?
Sure.
Okay. So you're going to have an Apothecary Satchel with 3 uses. You should note that down because it's also going to be something that people can use for healing. I think based on the kind of surgery you want to do, unless you want to be very blasé about it and risk it without the medical pack, you could go without it. But I think that would make everything harder and ultimately more dangerous. So it's kind of your call about how you want to go with that. But
Sorry, what was that? What was the choice?
So I would say if you want to A, get a sedative, and B, be able to mitigate some risk in terms of this crafting, you would want an Apothecary's Satchel. So that would cost you 90 drops. So if you don't want to spend the 90 drops, it'll just be a little harder and a little bit more
I'll spend
risky.
the 90 drops.
That's probably yeah, that's probably a good call. Okay, so you should note that down. It has three separate uses, and we'll expend those uses, I think, for this kind of check.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you got them all. I'm assuming secured. You apply a sedative to make sure that he doesn't start moving around. And let's do this. So I think the thing that makes the most sense. It's kind of between 2 things, right? It's between crafting and medicine, because you're very much making and grafting things onto a human body, so it kind of applies to both. And I'm assuming I don't think Bort has medicine, does he?
No, but it is a mind.
It is that's true.
A mind
that's
skill,
true.
right? Okay.
Okay, so what we'll do is it's going to be an extended test, and it's going to require you to kind of fulfill almost you could almost imagine 2 meters. To do. So I'm just gonna make a note here on my page. So crafting and medicine. And do you want to spend endeavors kind of reflect a week of work, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to you're gonna spend the whole week doing this?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So let's start with some crafting. You're gonna get the God's Eye ready. And let's say it's going to be require 10 successes to do this, and we'll just almost for flavor and just to kind of see what the effects are, we'll do 5 successes on medicine as well. So because you're not trained in medicine, the DN's going to be 5. The crafting is going to be on a 4,
Okay.
And you're going to have 3 attempts to reach those 2 thresholds.
Okay, and those are like 3 attempts each, and they're totally separate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, let's go ahead and do 1 crafting to start. It'll be crafting mind on 4s.
Crafting mind on 4s. Got 3 successes.
Okay.
And yeah, I can't use my focus on the other 2.
Okay. And then let's do a medicine. So it's just going to be on your mind then, like you said.
Okay.
That's on 5s.
5s. 3 5s.
Okay.
Nice.
That's good. Okay, cool. So I think that the first time I guess you'd have to probably remove his eyeball, right? Like, is that kind of what you're thinking? He's basically going to be like, I'm kind of thinking, is it Cyborg? Like that DC hero? Yeah.
A little
Cyborg's
bit,
got,
yeah.
like the robo eye? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if I still wanted to just like keep the eye intact, but there's not too much point in like attaching it to his face if we're not going to remove the eyeball. So
yeah, sure. So you work away into the night, unabated, and at the end of it all, you notice that like it's set in there. You have like kind of all the tubes and everything are kind of external right now, but he seems stable. So now it's just going to be like you feel like you're over a lot of the risky parts of the medical part. Let's try another roll.
Okay. So same 1 crafting and 1 1 medicine. Okay. Crafting 3. I'm going to use my focus on this one to bring this 3 up to a 4. So I have 4 successes.
Okay, cool. So that's a total of 7 so far. You're going to need to get 3 on your next one. On your final check, and then let's do 1 more medicine.
Right, medicine. Oh, on 5s?
On 5s, yeah.
5s, I got 1.
Okay. All right. So we'll say this continues through the week. I think. Are you going to basically keep him sedated until you're done?
I think so.
Yeah, that's probably the best.
Yeah.
Okay, and then on the final check.
Okay. Final check. Bort's gonna take this. I assume this is close to the end of the week.
Yeah.
The end of the week.
Definitely. Yeah, things are kind of coming up to the end.
For a little bit of flavor, I do want to say that, Bort is probably deeply consumed by this task and probably is doing a little bit of talking to himself and talking to Mariah as well, reassuring a sedated Mariah that it's going to be okay and he's going to come out of this stronger and better than ever.
I think if the other, like, is it fair to assume that Bort's like, is he like leaving his chambers, or is he in here for like the entire week pretty much?
He probably like sneaks out every now and then.
Okay.
Just for necessities.
Yeah, keep up appearances and everything. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Totally.
All right, last check. You need 3 on this crafting.
Okay.
And 1 more on the medicine. So let's just start with crafting.
Okay. This crafting. Yep, got 3 successes.
You got 3? Okay.
Yep.
you eke it out.
God.
Nice. Yeah, it sets in nicely. And let's see if you can kind of stave off the last bits of infection.
Okay. How many do I need on this?
You need 1 last success on a 5.
Oh, God.
And how many dice are you rolling, just for tension's
3.
sake? 3 dice.
Okay.
Okay.
3 dice.
All right. Well, 3 dice, a 5 up. You should get 1.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I got 1. Okay. I got 1 6.
Oh, thank God. Oh man, I was really, really curious if you're gonna like end up broken this guy. Okay.
Tough to come up with a pretty good story as to why he disappeared.
I think as this works into the night, and you see like daybreak, and you see a light kind of begin to shine in the window. The beam of light kind of passes across the tables and the bed, and finally like kind of scans across Mariah Carrion's face, and the light beam hits his other eye, and you just kind of see him wince and move. And he opens his eyes, and at the same time, the God's Eye activates, and it sprays a stream of laser across the banisters and the roof, and scans up into the sky. And he like lets out a mild scream of shock and sits up in bed.
Bort says, "Whoa, careful! Don't worry, take it easy. Take it easy, my friend."
Okay, what am I doing in this room? What's going on?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. I was just taking care of you. You took quite a tumble after our year's end celebrations. I don't know if you. Yes, your head probably hurts a lot. You passed out, and when you hit the table, you smashed up against some of the glasses, and it looked kind of dodgy there for a while. But don't worry, my friend. I took care of everything, and you're all better now. In fact, probably better than ever.
Oh man, my vision is blurry. What's going on?
You still got your one regular eye, but unfortunately I couldn't save your other injured eye because I don't have eyeballs, on supply. I had to give you one of mine.
Oh, he looks at you and it kind of like his hand instinctively goes up to touch at his face, and I think the geometry of this god's eye, it kind of, he hits his hand on it immediately because it's further out from his skull than would be normal, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. He touches it and is like, "Whoa, my beautiful blue eyes."
You still have one. You still have one blue eye, but now you.
Oh, good. I have one eye left. Thank goodness. Thanks, Sigmar. I still have one eye.
You have one eye, and you have one god's eye. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Why didn't I have just an eye patch? Why do I Along the rocky shores of Torlaan's exterior, we see Farlow Hannity, a deckhand from the Gromerstown fleet. His year's end celebration at an end, he stumbles off the rocky cobblestones in front of the pub and off into the night. The gentle sea breeze and low hiss of the waves as they crash up along the edge of the shell, as the long finned arms of the Leviathan Torlaan gently ply the waters. He uncorks a flagon of Bergsbottom 5X and coughs as the fumes sting the tips of his nostrils. The cork goes careening off the stones and lands in the water with a gentle plop. And, after a long moment, the cork comes sailing back out from the depths, tagging the human across the temple. Farlow grimaces and glances back to see who could have thrown the cork, but there's not a soul in sight. The shoreline is his alone for this evening. The deckhand carefully walks forward, peering warily at the water's edge. A pale, white face stares back, vacant eyes and cruel lips peeled back to reveal a set of needle-like teeth. There are only two sounds that followed: a vengeful splash of water and a bottle of spirits spilling out along the shore. And Farlow Hannity was never seen again.